Well, I was always low key mad at Will anyway, because I was like, I was supposed to go first. Like,
You was mad at me?
really? Yeah, I was low key
Oh,
like,
hold on. Wait. We don't.
I'm like,
We
this is
we.
supposed to be me at home running the
Key,
real
I thought you
estate.
was good.
Did you?
I thought you was good.
Did you? Welcome back to Kee Will's The More You Know
What's up, family?
podcast. Kee Will back in the building again.
We are super
Today.
excited.
Yes, we're super excited to talk to you about this particular topic, which is I quit my job. Now what? Now what? But before we get into this particular topic, please, guys, make sure you support our podcast. Like,
Yes.
subscribe.
Right now, do it.
Yes. hit
Everybody
that-
says we love your podcast. I'm like,
Like, do you
did
really?
Did you subscribe? Did you hit the like button?
And make sure you hit the notification bell so that when we bring you some new content, you can make sure that you're first to get it.
Yeah. So we done got about 50 subscribers just right by pausing to do that. So we appreciate y'all for that. So let's talk about it, Key.
Let's talk about it. I quit my job. Now what? I quit my job. Not I quit my real estate job. A lot of you didn't even know that I was in, corporate America, or that both Will and I were in corporate America. Thought most of you thought we were full-time real estate, but
Yeah,
not,
so
not the
let's
case.
just give a quick summary, high level. Key and I worked for a healthcare organization for a number of years. It was amazing, had a great experience.
Yep.
We both had very, very nice jobs.
Yep.
And June of 2023, I decided to resign. So,
Why did you decide to resign?
oh man, the short story is it was just a good time, meaning we had been sort of talking about retiring from corporate America, if you will, early. So we already had a plan when we hit 55. The original plan was Key was going to resign first and do real estate. And then I was going to sort of basically keep going until retirement age, 62. Then we sort of both do real estate together. So things changed at my job. There was a lot of changes, things that didn't really
Suit you
didn't suit me.
anymore?
Just from a, I'm a guy. People who know me, I roll with what's right, and what was going on
Didn't feel right
didn't feel
anymore.
right. So I came to Key. I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And what did you say, Key?
I said, and just to give a little bit of a backdrop, Will, as you guys know, if you check one of our podcasts out, Will has a heart condition. And we've talked about that before, so I won't
Yes.
go into it here. But my thought to him was, if you're now feeling like this isn't a fit anymore, you're feeling stressed, life is more important to me to have you here and we figure things out. So it sounds like to me it's time that you walk away.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
just like, it was a big decision for me. Obviously, when you work for a company for so long, you get into this routine, this habit, really this dependency of, I need this check, I
Right.
need this, and I'm sort of used to. So
Yeah.
making that change was not easy, and I was actually hesitant to do it. And Key was the one was like, no, we're good. Life is too short. We'll figure it out. And
Yeah, I mean, and not taking that lightly. I was still in corporate America. We had been doing pretty well in real estate. So my thought was walk away from corporate, focus on our real estate full time. I'll stay in corporate and you figure out how to minimize your expenses. I mean, there's probably a lot of discretionary expenses that we definitely were going above and beyond on that we could break back on.
yeah, and of course, I do want to say this because a lot of new agents, we're mentors for a lot of new agents, and they sort of like, oh, I prayed and God told me to quit my job and this and that. I was like,
Did he?
let's be strategic. Let's think about that. So I don't want you to think that you just quit your job without a
No,
plan.
no.
We actually talked about it for a good little while. We talked for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and things weren't working. I was like, you know what, Key, this is what we look like from a financial standpoint, right? Thankfully, we were able to put ourselves in a position where we could resign
Yeah.
and things be okay.
And just to be, I mean, maybe a little more transparent, we looked at, so Will does a really great job of keeping up with our budget, our expenses, what's coming in, what's going out, down to groceries, gas, what we spend on a monthly basis. Again, like discretionary things, vacation, so on and so forth. So it was easy to look at our budget and determine what we're able to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we knew that we had enough cushion for about a year that he could leave. And I think the original thought was that you were going to go back. You were going to go back to corporate America at first. I
We
don't
didn't really
remember.
know. We were. It was up in the air, and we was
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah,
let's.
because I think you were looking for a little while.
No, I think we just started to do real estate. It's coming back to me, and interesting enough, a few months out of real estate, when you're used to having this routine and having check come in every 2 weeks, even though we were doing fine, right? Because Key, she's always made more money than me, so Key was making, I don't know,
I was doing well.
You was doing
I was
well.
doing well.
You was doing
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
So it's not like we needed the money, but it was just for me being the man of the house. I wanted to make
Protector,
sure
provider.
I was doing my part, right? So for me, it
And
was
we
like,
didn't want to go through that year of money that we had that we had.
yeah,
The goal wasn't to go through it and spend it,
Right.
but we knew we
we had that.
had
we
it
had
if
that
we
off to
needed
the
it.
side,
Yeah.
right? So I actually started interviewing for another position, and the position came up at another healthcare
an
organization.
offer.
And
I
they were
think.
like,
They were
"Oh
like,
my gosh,
yeah.
is your resume, the experience?" And so I got off the interview with Key, and I was happy, but I was not.
Yeah.
And I was like, Key, I think there may be an opportunity at this company. They want me to sort of run the North, da 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 da.
And we're like, why are you gonna leave one situation and go right back to the exact same thing?
Right.
And then that's when we decided the goal is just focus on real estate full time. We were, again, busy enough that he could do that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to call the recruiter back, and I was like, hey,
yeah, so
this is sort of what's going on, and
was all good.
I decided not to. So that was tough. I don't want to. It was tough to sort of go back, and then once I finally got sort of my legs under me, if you will, it was full steam ahead.
right. Yep.
And then we went to speed up to January. Key is like,
Yeah. Well, I was always low key mad at Will anyway, because I was like, I was supposed to go first. Like,
you was mad at me?
really? Yeah, I was low key
Oh.
like,
Hold on. Wait. We
I'm
don't.
like,
We,
this is supposed to be me at home running the real
I
estate.
thought you was good.
Did you?
I thought you was good.
Did you? No.
Well, you held it down. You held it down.
I was like, women, we endure and we do whatever, right? And I was like, ready to move on from my corporate America job. But I was like, it's fine. I can push through
Well, you
a little
pushed
while
through.
longer.
You held it down.
Yeah, a little while
I didn't know
longer.
you was feeling some kind of way though.
I was feeling some kind of way.
Okay. Well, let's speed up to when you resigned. What made you resign?
It was as you said before, we'd been talking about when I was going to transition out. But then when you transitioned first, it was like, ooh, I think now we're gonna have to wait longer before I can leave. 55 wasn't that gonna be that number anymore. It was probably gonna be more like maybe 60 or 62. We weren't sure because we wanted to make sure we had that steady salary coming in and insurance. You can't forget you gotta have insurance.
I felt. Now you're making me. So I did. I felt some kind of way, and I think that's the reason I went back and interviewed for that job because even though we had money, we had the stash to the side. I felt like I wasn't contributing because I see you get up every morning, get on them crazy huddles and talk about nonsense. And I'm just like,
Don't
man,
say nonsense.
well, and it's just like, oh man,
Yeah.
I sort of felt some kind of way.
Well, I know you knew my job was pretty taxing because I had a group that I was over that was 24/7, 365. We never closed. There was just a lot of extra things that I did that I probably didn't have to put myself in that situation to do, but just trying to, do the right thing. And it just became onerous for me, right?
So was that your reason for? Did you come to me? We talked about it together. How did we come to the decision?
No, I used to come home every day and be like, I can't do this no more.
Oh yeah, you.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
You said that many a nights.
And I tried not to, guys. I tried not to say it because I didn't want him to feel
But in my head,
my stress or feel guilty.
I don't know if you knew this, but in my head, for a minute, I was like, you got to keep working.
Right. And I knew it.
I was like, you got to keep working.
I was like, oh.
You know what I mean?
And it's different when you feel like you have to be in a situation.
Right. But then, it was so onerous on her that we really talked about it. And I said, well, Kee, listen, I didn't want to see, my goal is for her to not have stress, to live life to the fullest. We both lost, I lost both my parents in an instant, 2019. I lost my mom, 2020. Kee lost her dad, 2021. I lost my dad, 2020. Yeah. It's like we just had so many, and it made us sort of pause and say, okay, what is important?
Right.
What is this all about? Like, how much money do you really need? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we chasing? And we just really came to the conclusion, like, hey, it's about experience in life, because we don't know how long we're going to be here.
Right. Yeah, and I think that when we talked about it, and in my head, I was thinking that I wanted to leave sooner than I did, but I just felt like there was more work for me to do in that job that I needed to. We're Superwoman, right? We can do it all. We're going to save the world. And honestly,
she was extremely dedicated.
I felt like there was more work.
I think she was too dedicated, honestly. But that's just who she is.
Well, I had young leaders that I wanted to put in a position to take over where I left off. And I didn't want to leave them in a situation that was bad. I wanted to kind of prepare things and leave, succession planning. I wanted to do a great succession plan for them.
And you did that.
I did a leadership retreat. I did all these things. And I just felt like God had said, not yet. Don't leave yet. But then one day, God clearly said, daughter, it is time for you to move on. And he was very clear in those words. And it wasn't like God came down and was like, my daughter, it is time for you to move it on.
So what was it? Was it just something in you that just said it's time?
It was work. It wasn't getting less stressful. The harder I worked, the harder things started to become. And I think that was God saying, you've done as much as you can do, and it is truly time for you to transition. And I think that's when I came to you, and you were like, you know what?
I was like, let's do it. I say life is short.
Let's go.
I'll say life is short. We're believers, and we know that God got our back. So I was like, hey, whatever path he leads us on, that's what it is. Before I turned in my resignation, I was sitting there holding it, and she was like, why are you waiting? Turn your resignation in.
Right.
And that was huge to have your wife support you like that.
Right.
And it was her time, being the financial guy and looking at the numbers like, should we? But when she said, hey, I'm not happy, I was like, you know what? Let's trust God. Let's trust him like we really say we do.
Yeah.
We took the plunge, and she submitted her resignation. We were in Miami, actually. Remember we were in Miami? And you came down and was like,
yeah,
it's over. Let's make it happen. And then
Yeah.
it was just full steam ahead.
And I think let's bring it to current state. For us, it's not a matter of, oh, we're no longer in corporate America, and so now we don't have that hustle and bustle, that 9 to 5. We do still have a schedule. We have
Yeah, we work
a
harder
pretty
now, but it's
strenuous
different.
schedule.
It's different. We work hard, but it's fun. It's like we're working when you're working for yourself.
You almost work
and
harder.
and you work harder.
Yeah.
It's different. It's hard to express it, but you know that you have control over your destiny, and
We still get up early.
we get up.
We still get up.
People who follow us, they know we get up. We work out.
Yeah. Will still gets up at 6. I'm a little.
I get up. Keep sleeping in the bed. I'm like sleep, sleep, baby. You good?
Oh, well, I
She's-
try to get up with you.
But when she's up, she's on it.
Yeah.
So she can sleep as long as she wants.
I don't
But
do-
when
I
Kee
don't
get
do
up,
that.
but Kee be up by 9 o'clock. We both at our desk. We working.
So yeah, so we actually decided we went on a retreat last year.
Oh man,
In
yes,
October.
yes.
And this was when I was really thinking hard about, I hadn't quit yet, but I was really thinking hard about, I've got to move on. So we decided to do
That was the
a
best.
3-day
That was the
retreat in the
best.
cabins, just Will and myself. But we went and we strategized, and we didn't. It wasn't a vacation. We got there. We were up in the morning by 8.
Man, we
we
had
were
our whiteboard. We had our everything on the wall. We was like, what's happening for the year of 2025? What's our goals? First quarter, second quarter, third quarter. That was
what are our to-dos? If I
Yeah.
quit, then what must we do? You know, one of the things was we've got to figure out the insurance thing. And then also at the time, we weren't brokers. And so we decided, okay, we've got to get our broker's license.
Yeah, broker's license.
So we ended up getting real estate broker license for Florida and here in Georgia as well.
Yeah. And that retreat was so.
It was very helpful.
It made us focus and really hone in on what we needed to do for the next year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. That's why I want to sort of put a pin in that, because it wasn't haphazardly. It wasn't just like, oh, we're just gonna quit our jobs and see what happens. No, we had a plan.
We had a plan, and you have to have a budget, guys. And even though you have a budget from your original salary, whether it was for us it was corporate and real estate, then we had to have a new budget that said, how much money are we going to bring in?
So on my spreadsheet,
just with real estate.
on my spreadsheet, I zeroed out the corporate.
Yeah, it was scary.
And it was like, shoo. But you know what?
It was scary for me. Will always does the budget, not me,
Yeah.
and the bills and all that kind of stuff. But for me, that retreat was very eye-opening. And I think because one day Will was looking, he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just internalizing, like, what are we about to do? Can we do this?
She didn't know the numbers. So what we did at that retreat, I shared.
Well, don't make it seem like I'm just
No,
living in oblivion.
no. My goal is to
like
make
she
you.
don't know nothing, y'all.
Listen, my goal is to make when that car swipe, it's supposed to go through. That's Kee needs to do you, right? But I said, hey Kee, I unveiled the curtain of the finances,
Right.
And I say these are all our accounts. These are retirement accounts. These are accounts that's more
Yeah,
liquid.
very specific.
These are
Yeah.
for the bills, and we went through it, and she was like, "Oh, wow."
Well, and then again, when he took off my salary, then it was like, he's like, this is how much income we have coming in right now, which was low. So that was scary. That was very scary.
Yeah,
And we have to think about, what do you do if you don't close anything for the month? What happens if you bank on closing a couple of deals or whatever, and they don't happen, which has happened recently for various things? Closings aren't a closing till you get to the table. But God has blessed us. It has been a great thing. It's been a great journey so far.
It's been a wonderful journey, and we don't take it. We haven't skipped a meal yet. We still travel, as people know. We just left Morocco. It's like we're still living, but the reason we're still living is because we planned it out.
And we're faithful.
We're faithful.
To we're believers. We pray.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
still do our part. I always tell Kee, we do our part. God got the rest, right?
One of the other things we thought about at one point was pretty drastic, but we have a home in Miami, and
Oh
we
man,
actually thought about selling our home here in Georgia and taking the money from the proceeds from this house, living in Miami, and
yeah,
not then we wouldn't have to worry about
yeah
a
we
job.
yeah we
So
had so many scenarios.
yeah, but
And
our business coach
our business coach was like,
was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!
shout out to Maya Sly.
Put the brakes on
She was
that.
like,
Let's talk about
y'all
that."
want to do what?
So I'm glad we didn't.
So, and that's another thing. I think when you make big decisions, don't make them in a silo. Like, talk to your friends, business partners, associates. Like,
Yeah.
get feedback.
Yeah.
Don't
Be
make
accepting of
decisions
feedback.
in a bubble because feedback is a gift.
How do you think our lives have changed since we've both become entrepreneurs?
I think for me, I'll speak for myself, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. So for me, I think our lives have changed from the standpoint of we're more in control of our destiny, our moves. Um, if when your mom got sick, he was like, "Kee, go spend a week or two with your mom." Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just, we have more control, and it's hard to, when you're in a 9 to 5 and you're in that routine for years and years and years, you almost don't even know what to do if you had the ability to sort of manage your own schedule. So for
Right.
me, that's the biggest benefit of being a full-time entrepreneur and having control and just being, I mean, we learn, I mean, we're constantly getting involved in different things, other opportunities. How can we do this? How can we make money?
Right.
How can we impact this person's life? How can we? So it's enriched from my standpoint, as opposed to just sort of doing your normal day-to-day 9 to 5. What about you?
Yeah, I think I hustle harder. I try to mentally. I am always thinking about how do we get to that next notch? How do we get to that next level? I feel like we try to be more engaged in different other circles, additional circles that we probably weren't a part of before. We just went to Morocco, and everyone on the trip was an entrepreneur. I think
That
maybe except for
was
one person,
amazing.
with 9 other people, and 9 of us were entrepreneurs. So they really fed into us and gave us a lot of information that was very helpful in how to maneuver challenges and how to think about things. And
We're growing. I just feel like we're growing faster. We're learning faster.
Yeah.
And we're impacting lives positively along the way.
Do you think our lives have changed from how we live?
Not really. I think I'm more conscious of.
Yeah, I am too
Okay,
now.
no, let's not do that. Let's not do that trip. Let's do this trip.
Right.
Like, do we really need to spend there? So it's more, we're more conscious of just waste, right? And just wasting money.
Right.
Again, Kee and I were working and had very good jobs, making very good money. So you can spend a few $100,
little extra.
and it's like, oh, what's that?
And then you look back and you're like, ooh,
The
that was
money
kind of
that we
wasteful.
wasted.
Yeah.
So now we're still living relatively the same life. We're just more cognizant and not as wasteful as we were before. So when we do spend money, we spend it in the right place and making sure that it impacts the right folks.
So what do you think is next for
What's next for us? The thing
Kee and Will?
is growth. Growth is what's next for us.
How? What do you mean?
Meaning just finding multiple ways of, because we're not going to do. I don't see us in sales from a real estate perspective all our lives, right? We're looking at other pathways, investments. How can we sort of step outside the business and run the business? So there's different things from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about where we can manage our business and not really sort of be in the day to day. That's part of the journey. That's what we
Right.
do.
One question we get a lot is, do you guys own your own brokerage, or are you going to own your own brokerage? We have,
Oh, yes.
well, I'm going to speak for myself. I have no desire to own my own brokerage. We're with a
Yeah.
company that we really love
Yeah, we're
and
at Norlux
enjoy.
now,
So,
and
yeah.
we're happy there. It's a great company. Jeremy Norman is the CEO. He's a visionary. We're on the same page, and
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
good.
I
I
never
don't want
say
to.
I never say never.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, we may.
Now, we may be managing brokers for one of his offices. We're assistant managing brokers now, but I don't
That's
know
the
if
thing.
I don't want a Key Will real estate
Being your own
office.
boss is you're not boxed in,
Yeah.
right? You're not boxed in where, being your own boss, you have your own you call the shots and say, if we do want to start our brokerage, oh, we'll do it. Do we have desire now? No. We
No,
love
I'm
working and
good.
collaborating with the folks that we're working with now. And
Yep.
how about we all rise? How about we all go to the top? Like, it doesn't always mean I got to go have my own this and that. No, I'm supporting you, you support me, and let's both win.
What are five key things that you would share with the audience, for anyone who is thinking about leaving corporate America and pursuing an entrepreneurial
Yeah. Um,
experience?
I would say number one,
Number one, yeah.
just don't make rash decisions. Don't be emotional about it. Even though when Key and I left, there's a lot of emotions going on and things that we didn't necessarily agree with and things of that nature. But we talked about it. We didn't just say, "Oh, we're just going to do this." So I would say definitely be strategic and think about it.
So number one sounds like make sure it makes sense. Make sure it makes sense and it's strategic.
Number
Number
two,
two,
make sure you can survive. You got to have money.
look at your
We
finances.
have a lot of agents. We just talk about real estate for a second. There's a lot of agents that quit their jobs and jump in the real estate with no backup plan. Okay, how much savings do you have? Do you have 6 months? Do you have a year worth of savings? What is your plan if you're not able to move and do what you need to do from a real estate perspective?
So look at your finances. Number two. Number three.
Number three, have a support system. Luckily, I got this beautiful lady right here from a support standpoint, but have a support system. Have people, you are your circle, right? We hear that all the time. Put yourself in rooms where you're not the smartest person in the room,
Correct.
right? And that's what Key and I have done since we've been entrepreneurs 100%. We're in rooms with folks who are just brilliant, geniuses,
Right.
like just taking over the game. So we're absorbing and learning from that perspective.
So surround yourself with people who can pour into you and don't be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
What's number four?
Man, you put me on the spot, Key. But be consistent. Life is not easy, right? Life will throw you, whether it's personal, whether it's business, there's always going to be something that's going to come in your way. I say you have to, number one, trust God. And if you truly trust Him, you'll make sure that, okay, this may not be going the way I want it to go, but I trust God's plan and just keep going.
And I would say, so yes, so number four is trust, be consistent, and trust in who you believe in. And I would say number five is.
Ooh, let me hear it. Let me hear it, Key.
I would say number five is to make sure you are happy.
Ooh.
Make
Can I get okay?
make sure you are happy.
Yeah, even if you get, it's not about necessarily entrepreneurship, but maybe your job is not the right fit.
Right.
Don't be afraid to get another one.
And I will tell you, if your corporate America job is not feeling happy for you anymore, it doesn't mean that you should leave corporate America completely. Maybe that means that you need to look at other opportunities within that company or within another company. But if you have an entrepreneurial spirit and it's something that always dreamed of doing, maybe this is the time to really start thinking about it, start strategizing, start planning through it while you are, managing through your corporate America job options. So, and then maybe that's something that you can ease into, because again, for a while, Will and I did corporate America, and we did real estate for really full time for about 5 or 6 years. Yeah,
we did, and I recommend that.
So you can do both.
That's the easiest thing. Start you a side gig, a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. With today's technology, ChatGPT, AI, there's no reason anyone should not be making additional income doing something.
Yeah. But just be happy in the space you're in. Man. Be happy in the space you're in.
Transition if you want to transition. You don't necessarily need to do real estate or entrepreneurship. Maybe you want to do both. Maybe you want to just work your full time and make some extra money on the side.
Right.
But as Kee said, be happy because life is too short. And I'm gonna end with this.
Yes.
And Kee always like, why do you always? But I do want to say this because it matters. The average person lives to be about 78 years old. If you really think about that and understand the time that you have left, your activity, the urgency of when needs to happen will speed up, right? Kee and I, we're 53 years old. I know we look like we're about 25. But we're 53. We're gonna be 54 years old.
Not the way people be mamming me these days.
No, I mean I'm okay with being I got a little gray.
All right, when did people become?
I'm okay being but embrace it. My thing is, if you realize if we're 53, that means we got about 25 more years left or something like that. It's like, oh my gosh, I got live
50 more. I don't know about Will. I got 50.
I mean, if we're blessed,
I only live half my life so far.
We'll live longer. I hope I'll be like my grandmother. She's 91, 92. If I could be like her. But my point is, be cognizant of the loved ones in your life, because if you work, people start
running.
People start falling off, passing away
before you know it.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I was working, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
And that's valuable time. Time is what is extremely more important for us than money.
It is.
At this point in our
more
lives,
valuable.
Granted, we do have money that we have worked hard for, and that is there. But at this point in our lives, time is much more important.
Time is money. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed.
I hope you guys got a little bit of nuggets out of that.
All the information that we shared today. If you have other questions, certainly reach out to us, comment on this podcast. Make sure you share it out. And we appreciate you guys tuning in.
Listen, we're going to do a part 2 maybe next year. We're going to be like, where we at? Next year, we like, this is where we at next year. Every year we should do, or maybe every 6 months. I don't know. We just let folks know, man. Right. Stay encouraged. Listen, we love y'all. Kee and Will, this is what we do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please. Like, do all that. We love y'all.
Have a good one.